Thank you for joining me. I hope you are all positively satisfied by all this talking about PDF and AI and PDF and accessibility, which of course is trending topics. And I also maybe hope that you are here for some comfort zone, and I hope to give it today with this talk. So today we will talk about PDF XMP metadata validation, but we will do it with a different strategy using Relax and G schemas, and in particular with the PoDoFo library. And we'll see how this is all of this is connected to ISO 16684 part 2. You will find a lot of links. At the end of the presentation, we'll find a QR code that you can use to download, to check all these links. And also I fixed a couple of typos that should be still active in this presentation. So my name is Francesco Preto. I'm a software engineer and working in the PoDoFo library. So let's begin with a little outline of this presentation. We'll talk about, of course, we'll have a background, a context on XMP, about the PoDoFo library, and about the problem I needed to solve. We will talk, of course, about standards and the normative framework for requirements, and about sometimes you are lucky enough to find something very, very cool in the standards that are not free, that are not available for free. I will tell a little bit about how I developed the solution for my problem, and we will see, of course, some next steps, some things that are still required to be done, and we will go to the conclusion, and we will have some questions, maybe some special questions also to the audience. Okay, so let's begin with the context. XMP stands for Extensible Metadata Platform. Most of you, of course, are already aware of it, and is storing container for metadata, and it works. You can use it across different formats, PDF, of course, JPEG, and others. And it was developed by Adobe in 2001, and of course, but with a focus on PDF. In the PDF context is XML based still. I would say it's still a good choice, because on XML, researchers spent a lot of formal validation, find different strategies. Of course, it looks a little bit old today. If you are thinking about JSON, that's what I was thinking as well. On the right, you have, on the right, of course, you have a XMP packet that you can find easily on many PDF documents. And this is coming from an Adobe product. So what are the problems with XMP? And there are regular validation strategies that are used. Of course, the biggest problem is that XMP is ambiguous. And we have multiple representations for the same data. And most of the time, they are related to use of attribute notations. And these two packets really represent the same data. We'll find other examples later. And regular strategies are not possible in this situation. What is the strategy for validation that is most often used is to parse the data model. And you do it with, you usually do it with the XMP Toolkit SDK, which appear to be available for C++, and it was also open source in Java. It shouldn't be anymore. I don't know the reason. Maybe it could be another question for the audience. And yes, this is certainly possible, and Vera PDF does it, of course. But we could talk about if it is enough formal, if it's not done with a schema. It's something we could discuss. Actually, in my case, I wasn't aware about the XMP Toolkit SDK until this year. And it's interesting because it was in C++. So, well, I discovered this year, but I had already this idea of implementing another strategy, and we'll see it. What is PoDoFo? PoDoFo is a C++ manipulation library. It was written initially by German developer Dominik Seichter. Sorry for the pronunciation. It focuses a lot on low-level processing and low-level transformation, manipulation, and it features some really great gems you can find around. This Adobe Font Development Kit for OpenType is a gem really you can find if you're working with native code. And it's about handling fonts. And I'm currently developing it and maintaining it. And if you are interested for any reason, you can check it out at GitHub project. So what was my problem? Basically, I just needed to do some kind of PDFA reduction. I call it a reduction and not conversion because that's what you really do. You just make some document to be consistent with a subset of the PDF specification. So existing metadata packets should have been polished, should have been cleaned from invalid properties. Here you have, maybe there are no malformed properties, but you have a PDF trapped property that was not available until PDF 2.0, and you have a user-defined property that would require anyway PDF extensions from PDFA from 1 to 3. So what I wanted to do is trying to implement a rigorous packet validation, asking myself if we can do also better than other strategies. And of course, in the wish list is pluggable validation with extension. I already told about the PDF extension in PDF 123, but there is also AF relationship in PDF 4. And I wanted to have a validation that is platform and language independent. So the standards that regulate this, of course, the most recent revision of the XMP specification, you can find it in ISO 16684 part 1, which enlists the basic properties and gives and describes the data model for the XMP. And you can find all the other interesting properties still in Adobe documents, in XMP specifications with additional properties. And I was talking about PDFA, which probably most of you are aware of, about archiving documents for long preservation. And the interesting thing that was about enlisting all the specification, all the revision of the specification, is that the ISO 195 standards are much more accurate in describing the specific revision of the XMP specification. So in PDFA 1, you have specification from 2004, PDF 2 or 3, specification for 2005, and in PDF 4, you have specification for 2016. That is also together, that it comes together the document from 2019, but this is only the basic properties. The interesting part about standard is that sometimes you read documents and you just find the solution. And we have ISO 16684 part 2, which as far as I know is still not free, which just say that you can describe XMP you can do validation of XMP using RelaxNG schema. And the RelaxNG schemas is syntax for validating XML content, which is simple, intuitive, and is also standardized. And as well, ISO 166, there is a typo here, but yes, I fixed. That's one of the one I fixed. ISO 16684 part 2 is nice because it sketches the solution, but as you often find in college course, the solution is left as a trivial exercise to the reader. So the solution is really fully implement ISO 16684 part 2. So what we do is we normalize the XMP packet with the canonization algorithm, which is fully described by the document. And we write a full schema with all the properties for the XMP packets. And the funny thing is that you already find a complete definition of all these properties in this project. In my case, because I was implementing a native solution in C++, I also had to look at streaming validation solutions for RelaxNG, and I found the libxml2 library to be lacking with regard to RelaxNG streaming validation. Is a little bit something that we require that is more explained in this merge request. But yes, I had to improve this dependent library as well, and it's something that was recently merged, which is kind of cool. So we have a look now at the canonization algorithm. I'm going to into details, hoping that this presentation maybe is useful for some people of you that will try to implement in your product or framework. My solution, of course, it was implemented in the PoDoFo library, and I will just illustrate the requirements for this canonization algorithm. So the RDF element is the outermost element for the XMP packet, and it shall contain a single RDF description element with all the XMP properties. As I was telling you, the canonization algorithm is mostly about removing the attribute notation from the description of the properties. So, for example, here we have XMP rating property that is within its RDF description element, and we don't want the attribute notation. We just turn it in a element notation. So it's so we just remove one other way to represent the same data. As I was telling you, a lot of things are described still by attribute notation. As here, we have the attribute parse type resource, which is just telling us that this element is a structure element. So it's like a data structure with fields. And with this notation, you can just write all the fields right away, but we don't want this notation. We just remove the attribute, and we end up with another RDF description element, which is not the outermost RDF description element I was talking before. It's just a local RDF description element that is allowed here. And that is, we remove this notation. There is another requirement which I'm not 100% sure about, which is the canonical serialization of XMP shall use a nested bag sequence alternative element for array values. For me, it's a bit unclear, and my guess is that properties defined as collections should not be represented as when they have a single element, should not be represented with raw value as here, because DC date is a property that that is a collection of values. I don't remember exactly, maybe alternative, but the canonization algorithm may say don't use raw values for single element. Just use a complete bag, sequence, or alternative notation elements. And the last one, requirement, is that qualifiers should be serialized as elements within RDF description element. So qualifiers, again, you see this hate for the attribute notation. This XMP IDQ scheme attribute is a qualifier, and we don't want it to be expressed this way. We just wrap it in an RDF description. We put the value, and we write the qualifier as an element that is child of this RDF description element. We are going quickly to the solution of the problem. So we just write our schema, relax ng schema. You see it, some excerpt. An excerpt from the schema. You see R and relax and G elements, and because the schema must be specific for a particular XMP revision, specification revision. In my case, it was easier to define this specification by just mentioning if it's PDF1 or PDF2 or PDF3 or PDF4 schema. I just defined the schema as a template, so I just added a condition attribute that can be evaluated in a pre-processing step. And this is also allowed by the relax ng specification that is allowing to add unknown attributes to your schema. There are some edge cases that are still present while trying to represent all the features of the XMP specification, but I think they can be solved. Maybe we will talk about at least also them later. So the final solution in the PoDoFo library, of course, is just clean your packet with a prune and validate method, and specify your desired PDF level compliance. It's made, and you can have some feedback on what is failing during this process, and of course you can turn from this packet, which contains this invalid PDF trapped and custom property, and turn it in something that will validate according to PDF-A specification. And if the identifiers for PDF-A specification are missing, they will be added as well. As a bonus slide, because you have bonus stages which are easy, we also have a bonus slide which is just ensuring that PDF-A and PDF-UA compliance will be handled correctly together. And because this is also, as I was telling, the topic of the year. Of course, this validation handle the coexistence of PDF A and PDF UA specification, and adding automatically the extension if you're targeting PDF A 1, 2, 3, which otherwise without the extension schemas that was released this year by Peter, it wouldn't validate accordingly to PDF-A. So next steps in this development is, I was telling, supporting extensions, because I still didn't require to do it. Support existing extensions. So if custom extension from the user, you can convert this PDF-A extension to Relax Energy schemas, and I think it could be a trivial task. And, but yes, only time will tell if it's really trivial or it can be a nightmare. I think it's easy from what I know right now. And of course, we could validate packets with PDF4 files, PDF-A4 files that will add Relax NG schema, which is a requirement now. If to use Relax NG schemas, if you want to describe, because it's optional, you can add Relax NG schema to validate your custom properties in the metadata, and you will use this technique, this key, and if it's present, of course, it makes sense to validate it. And in my opinion, also it should be, if it's present, it should be correct according to the PDF-A specification. I'm not sure if it is clear enough, but that's what I think. And there are some, I was mentioning about each cases. And there are some user-defined structures that are described. Here we have one, XMP pantry. I don't know what it is. And we have open choice of lists. If you have seen this XMP specification, sometimes you have some fixed values. Sometimes you have open choice of lists with some also recommended values, which are not so easy to describe with the Relax NG schema. We'll see what we can do about those. And maybe add some other stuff like XPath, properties, validation. And the feedback is welcome in the, as I was telling you, in the GitHub project related to this schema. Conclusions. With this strategy, we develop future-proof alternative for validation of XMP packets, which is something that you can get inspiration from. And also because it's the schemas released under license that you can just take and merge in your project. It's free. You can do it right now. And maybe PoDoFo is not very popular library, but I think I don't know, maybe for the first time, I don't know. I should reevaluate all the features of PoDoFo, but yes, maybe this time is delivering true innovation. I'm at least being the first in my to show this strategy to the PDF technical industry, and because of the improvements that was required in the XML2 library, well, it is also a value that goes behind our community. And the bad news I heard this morning about this library, that this library now, today, is not maintained anymore. But it's the very you can find it everywhere, this library. So probably we will, I hope there will be a new maintainer will show up. Current maintainer will maintain this for the next few months. Well, this is a sad news, but yes, I hope it will be. There will be better news later. Well, I'm concluding. Okay, all this work was made possible by the company that is contracting me, which is Euronovate, and is a software house that also is not only software house but also hardware manufacturers that combine software and hardware in their signing tablet, and it's I would say it's a good fit. If maybe today or most of you are developer, but I think it's a good fit if you want to suggest as a partner for software and hardware integration that want to integrate. We do of course a PDF integration, but I don't know if you are interested in tablets, signing tablets, would be a good fit. And I was telling you that this question slide would be kind of special because I will try to ask a question to the audience. I'm delighted that today we have here actually the technical leader for the ISO 16684 standard, that is Leonard. And I'm delighted that he's here. You can download the presentation if you want with the fixes also, or maybe, yes. And yes, my question was, I couldn't find them. I asked Peter, I think I asked in the right places, why there were no public Relax NG grammars for the PDF XMP packets, why this strategy is not popular. I think it was a good strategy. Maybe I have already the answers in my mind, but I ask to you, and I will try to answer to your question if you have any. Thank you.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Back.
Thank you for your presentation. Did you look at Schematron for handling some of your edge cases in validation?
If I looked at Schematron?
Schematron, yes. It's part of DSTL as well.
I know Schematron is a formalization that could be used together with Relax NG to describe more validation requirements. I haven't looked at it. It may be useful, yes, because I've done, of course, Relax NG schemas offer a degree of formality, but some validation I'm doing it. I'm still doing it in the C++ code. I haven't looked at the Schematron, but yes, I know how it is used together with the Relax NG. It might be useful to do some things I'm doing with C++ code right now. Maybe I may not be myself personally. I may not be personally interested in implementing them in my code. Maybe just because also involved calling another formality. It involves initiate another context for validation, which takes computational time. If the problem is very easy, maybe in my solution I would prefer to code it straightly away in C++ code. But that is what I'm doing for my tasks.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
No, but I'll answer the first
Thank you.
bullet up there. To be honest, which is no one's ever asked for them. To my knowledge, there's a limited number of implementations of the validation to begin with. VeraPDF has one, Calus has one, Adobe has one that I know of for certain. I'm sure there are others. But they have not used, I think you're the first person that I'm aware of to go down this route as the approach for validation, regardless of, again, what we tried to do with respect to Part 2 of 16684. So I think it's great. I think hopefully people can utilize this stuff going forward, and certainly appreciate the work you've done.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a question. So, I mean, maybe this is a question to the room. Did you notice in doing this work how many files out there were actually technically invalid with your ability to now do a more detailed validation? Do you have any information on that?
Excuse me, maybe I understand. Can you repeat the question? Sorry, I'm not sure I understood it.
So you are now using sort of more formal validation of XMP. Yes. Have you done any checking of other files out there?
Yes, I understood it, but yes, I asked you to repeat. Thank you. Yes, that's a very good point. The problem is that this project ended like 3 weeks ago, and I didn't have time to test it as well as I would like to. It's just time constraints. Yes, that would be definitely an answer. Question to answer and find a proper answer for it. For me, my requirements for right now, I have to be honest, is that it should not crash. It should and it should pass PDFA validation reports, and that's some, of course. You have to begin with something. That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, thank you. I'd also like to highlight to everyone in the room that starting tomorrow, when we move to PDF Week, this kind of topic regarding PDFA4 and relaxed and G schemas was actually discussed in our last set of ISO meetings in Concord in the US, and I'm sure discussions will probably continue tomorrow. So please join us in the PDFA TWG meetings and subsequently in the Working Group 5 ISO meetings, where Leonard is also the project leader of PDFA4. And maybe if you need clarification on any of the shoulds and shalls, I guess we can discuss it and make sure the language is clear for everyone. That's what we're here to do. Oh, sorry.
Also, if there are things that you think we should do in the 16684 series, either we currently, Part 1 was recently up for possible revision. We decided not to do that. But if you've got things there or in Part 2 that you think would be worthwhile, those can also come up for discussion in the next couple of days, and we can take the appropriate steps if necessary. So welcome the input.
Thank you for the question. I found a few issues. Well, there are trivial issues. Typos. Also, in the specification that I found, that I looked at all the revisions, and they are not fixed. Also in the latest one, maybe the edge cases I was talking before may be interesting to discuss how, and I can make a list of all of these.
Why don't you add them to the PDF issues repo? That'll give good tracking, and we can take it from there. At the moment, they don't cover XMP, but I'm more than happy to add XMP support. It's a critical technology part of PDF, so just add them to the issues repo.
Okay.
Okay. And on a sort of somewhat related note, there's actually an open errata now about 16684 Part 3, which is the JSON LD serialization of XMP. Yeah, so it was a question about whether we should adopt it. That was we discussed it in Concord. So if anyone in the room has strong opinions either way, we'd certainly welcome input into that issue that's on the errata GitHub as well. Any further questions from the audience? Okay, thank you very much.